Hi, and welcome to Morning Coffee. As most of you know, for the last 50 years, the United Methodist Church has been facing an increasingly difficult challenge regarding LGBTQ ordination and same sex marriages. That issue and those two topics in particular have divided us and caused more and more turmoil. Well, the last two general conferences, we have learned, if nothing else, that we can't legislate our way out of it. We find our denomination broken apart theologically. And so you have traditionalists that are more conservative on the topic, that don't believe in same sex marriage or ordination of LGBTQ. You have centrists who say let each local church decide for themselves, each annual conference decide who they ordain. And then you have progressives that say, no, we should be accepting of all people. And that's the bottom line. We should accept all people. Well, we find ourselves torn apart. And then this last week, a group of 16 persons representing many of the advocacy groups across that theological spectrum and bishops from around the world that, again, also have different theological perspectives. This 16 member group offered a proposal. Now, let me say from the beginning, it's just that. It's a proposal. This doesn't come from an official group, so it would still have to go to General Conference, which is going to happen in May, and be accepted and no doubt amended a few places before it could be passed. So everything we're talking about is speculative. But because it comes from representatives of these really major advocacy groups, it has a better than average chance of being accepted and eventually acted upon. The proposal goes something like this. The United Methodist Church, as it stands now, would remain intact, keep its name, keep all of its institutional property, our camps, our buildings, our general agencies, and the conservative group within our current denomination would leave to go form their own denomination. And they'll decide what their name is, they'll decide what their book of discipline looks like, their organizational structure. For leaving behind all those other assets that I mentioned, the camps, the general agencies, this newly forming conservative denomination will receive, according to this plan, $25 million over 4 years, and that will help them establish their own agencies and boards and things like that. So the United Methodist Church would remain, and this new denomination would form out of it. Any annual conference or local church that remains in the United Methodist Church that would prefer to go with the new denomination will be allowed to vote to do just that. Local churches would have an opportunity sometime in the next 3 or 4 years to decide if they want to leave or not. If those local churches leave, they get to leave with all their assets and liabilities, including their church building. So, and that's up to the local church. The way the resolution's written now, each local church would decide whether that vote that takes place is by a majority vote or by a 2/3 vote. So, as I said, there's a lot of other pieces and puzzles, parts of this resolution. If you want to find out more about it, go to the UnitedMethodistNews.org. That's umnews.org. And you can see the protocol for separation. You can see the frequently asked questions section about this particular proposal. And all of this is still very much unofficial. It will be taken to General Conference in May, and they'll decide what to do next. And so we find ourselves in a waiting period. In May, I'm sure we'll be hearing between now and then a lot of different information about that protocol and what it would look like, what's being proposed. But in the end, always remember, the General Conference legislative body will, I'm no doubt, amend all these proposals in some form or another. And so following that May General Conference, we will know exactly where we are. As a denomination, most likely we will remain just as we are, and those that are conservative will move on with God bless you, good luck, and let us continue to do the work of the kingdom. We have great hope that these two new denominations, or the new one and the United Methodist one, will be able to work together in many ways, because we do agree upon so much. If you have any questions, feel free to call me here at the church. to email me. You can get that through the church's website, my email address. I'll be happy to answer anything that's left over that I've not answered here or in other places. So, God bless you. Let us continue to pray for our church, our denomination, that God will use us, use people all along that theological spectrum to make a difference in the world, to show the compassion and the grace of Jesus Christ to all people. Thanks, and have a great day.